Going to call the meeting to order for the January meeting for the Joint Advisory Committee. And I said we're going to change the agenda order. And Daryl, we're going to go with you first.
I would like to make a presentation to the POA and a donation of $5,000 on behalf of our Futures Cup. 64 of the best guys in Bella Vista, and I say that because they really play for no prize money. They donate almost their entire entry fee for junior golf and for the advancement of golf. So Daryl, on behalf of 64 of the best guys you're going to ever meet, I want to present you this check for $5,000. Thank you. By the way, this is the third year in a row we've had the Futures Cup, and it's growing and it's getting better and better every year. The first year we donated $2,000, and for the last 2 years we've been able to donate $5,000 each year. So a total of $12,000.
That's awesome. The name says it's all Future Cup. It's for the juniors, but it's also half of it goes towards developmental programs with the seniors that move here that want to learn to play golf.
Right.
So it helps all the pros. It's a program. We've already spent over half of it just on the program that comes in that allows us to do it. Operation 36. It's phenomenal, and thank you to everybody out there, and especially David for putting it on.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
David, on behalf of the entire golf committee, will you thank the other 63 members?
I will do that.
How much we appreciate their support.
Two of them are on
Two of
this
them are here,
committee.
so we appreciate
So Gary
it.
and Jerry.
All right. Just 61 you have to contact. Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to jump in. Thank you for letting me go first. We've got state pictures for Gravett girls who won state for the first time. We're doing a banner to go up, and I'm going to be over there in a little bit, so it's pretty exciting. But let's go over numbers real quick on rounds. Man, we had a rough December. Super cold. If everyone remembers, we got down to 6 degrees. Rounds were at 5,339. That's down by 4,200. Looking back, I went back and looked. In 2018, we almost matched 2018. We had a flood in December, in the middle of December. So this is the lowest rounds we've ever seen in December. And on top of that, we had a rough November. So if we go to our rounds overall, we finished the year of 2022 at 170,857. Only down by 1,800 with the cold weather that came in. That was pretty impressive that we hung in there. We took a lead of 4,000 and we lost it. But so not a bad year at 170,000 rounds of golf. That's a lot of golf that's going on. Member rounds were down 9,900 and guest rounds were up 8,080. So it's kind of where it is. One thing that the membership sure liking is the range buckets. Finished at 63,946. That's 2,950 over last year, which is pretty cool. But once again, December buckets were down because of the cold weather. So I also want to point out there's another thing in there that I'm extremely excited to share. A lot of hard work goes into the year, from purchasing all the stuff for the pro shops, to putting it out, to selling to our membership, and our membership supporting the pro shops. We finished at 131% to budget over what we budgeted, and that's phenomenal. I mean, that is crazy what we did at all pro shops across the board. So shout out to the team and shout out to the membership for supporting what we have in our pro shops. That's huge. So I didn't put that in the notes, but we just calculated that all just the other day. So moving on real quick. I'm going to kind of jump around. Alex is not here. He's on vacation. He's down with his mom in Little Rock. I gave everybody kind of a copy of the tournaments. Alex broke them down to see what grew from last year to this year. A couple of them were up. Most of them were up. A couple of them were down. A couple of them were pretty even. We're going to add a new tournament for next year. The calendar is not fully set yet. We're working around some late incomers for outside tournaments and some events that are happening. But we pretty much got ours figured out. You'll see that out on the golf update and then pro shop soon. So tournaments are going to be pretty cool. One thing we're definitely enhancing our members' lives is our new sign up for tournaments. So we got a new deal where you're actually going to sign up through our Golf Genius, which is our tournament software. And this is going to help the membership hugely on one side. You're going to click, it's going to take you in, you're going to fill out your team. And right now, when we take a tournament entry form, somebody's got to pay for the whole team. And then you got to figure out who you got to get your money from. Well, the new system will go on and say, all right, I'm going to pay for two, and the other two are going to pay for themselves. And they'll send an email and they can log on and pay for themselves. It's going to help a lot of stuff. It's also going to help if we have cancellations of tournaments. So this is something new we stumbled into with our new software through the whole GIN and ASGA. And we're going to try it out this year, and I think the memberships are really going to enjoy it. And that's going to help as well because we have post results, we have better communication with the membership. Right now, it's everything comes in through golf operations. It's all pen and paper, putting it in and everything and balancing it all out. This is going to be a lot smoother, and accounting gave us the blessing to do it because it's going to be a lot easier for everybody. So that's what Alex wanted me to cover on that side. New things in 2023. One thing we won't get back to, unfortunately, is the expo. You know, we got the group expo we've had for years, and then we had COVID. We had to cancel it a couple of years, and then this year we were like, all right, we're going to get back into the membership meeting. Well, somebody blew up Reardon Hall, so we can't do it this year. So, and somebody said to me, so why don't we just move it to Lake Point? I said, well, if you remember when we have it, we have over 500 people move through there every year. It's just not enough space. It's a big feat to understand, and the group leaders, they understand, I hope. But we'll get back to that as soon as we can, get it happening, because that's something that's unique to Bella Vista. I also want to remind the membership, GIN handicap forms are in the pro shops. Please fill them out. It's $30 for the year. You can do it right now. We will be shutting GIN down on Monday to deactivate and reactivate, so everybody will kind of know where they are and what's going on that side. Want to point out, don't do it through your app on your phone. It doesn't tie you into Bella Vista, and the price is more. So come to the pro shops, fill out the check, turn it into Trevor, and we'll be good to go on that side. So that's pretty exciting. Let's have a look at other things that are happening. 2023, before the golf course is open, let's have some fun. Now, I'm going to jump right down to the bottom. I know I'm going fast, and I hope Mark can keep up with the minutes over there. Mark, if you can't, we'll catch up tomorrow. I want to challenge, I want to put something in front of this committee. I have in front of my pros, I reached out to them and kind of had a little session, but I want to come up with, everybody knows in the golf carts, you have those cart signs that sit up top that everybody looks at every day, and when it's carts on path, we put something up there so you can see it. It's a great way of communicating. I'm going to ask you all to think about this and bring it to next meeting. 4 to 5, no more than 4 to 5 max, ideas for local rules in Bella Vista that you would like to see up there. You know, you get in a cart, you can look up. My pros came up, I'll just give you an example or two. One of them says, stay on pace. Keep up with the group in front of you. Simple one-liner up there, short to the point. One of them says, leave the course in better condition than you found it.
So you're not talking about course rules or playing rules, you're talking about
Overall,
general rules.
General rules. General rules could be etiquette. I would love to, you guys go back to your group, talk to them, see what they think, see what they come back. I've got my pros, and then we'll vote on something so when spring comes, we can pop it up there. And that's where it is, that's where we roll, there are rules so people can see. Because when you see somebody breaking a rule in the drive, most of the time it's because they just don't know. And you drive up, and if it's there in front of them, you pull up and you're saying, why are you here? Or, you know, what's going on here? And then they turn around and say, it's right there in front of you. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. And then they learn, you know, whether they choose to read it or not, but it's something that I've seen at other courses, and they'd have a good response from it. But I'd like your input, that you guys are out there and girls are out there that visit with our membership, okay? That's about all I've got in a quick nutshell. Look at that, 10 minutes. Oh, I also gave you another piece of paper. If anybody hasn't met Miss Hannah down at Tanya Creek, please go down and see her. Dynamic lady, she's our new PGA pro down there. And she going to start a 2023 winter short game league. It's a 2-person, it's indoors, weather, it's be kind of a little competition. If you do not have 2 people, she'll get one and she'll match you up. She'll be matchmaker, she says. But it's a fun little tournament. It's all on there. Read it. We put it out in the golf update last week. We've got a good response from it. I figured if you all wanted to see it, if you know anybody, have a look. If you've got questions, reach out to her. I just proofed her leaderboard, And it'll be a accumulation of points as you go through the whole winter working on your short game, from putts, different distances to little chips. It's pretty cool the way she's done it. And it'd be a fun deal to do, but reach out to her.
Does it make sense, whether it's man or woman or couples? So couples
Whatever
can
you
be.
want. Yep.
Okay.
Says it's 2 persons. We'll roll from there. Just reach out to her and get signed up. It's filling up fast, so that's kind of where we are on that. Summer group schedules went out. Trevor's already collecting them for summer group, and then we'll be working on the summer group book as well. Seeing as we're not having the expo, we're going to reach out to the leagues if they want to be in that book. Appreciate you all. It's a great 2022. It's going to be even better 2023.
Darrell, let me just say, it's not a surprise to me that merchandise is up 131% over your budget, because Leslie does such a fantastic job. The merchandise in our pro shops is second to none. There's nowhere else you can go to get the quality of shirts and sweaters and everything, hats, everything, shoes. And then we also, if you have an activity card, get your 10% discount off of that. So it's a fantastic value. The prices are not outrageous. I'm proud when I wear something that's with one of our courses stamped on it. And I go out to dinner or something and people say, oh, you're from Bella Vista. I think it's cool. And so again, it's not a surprise to me that it's up, and it wouldn't surprise me if it goes up again next year.
And that, yeah, it's awesome. Echoing that, but also membership for supporting. That's huge. If it wasn't for the members, we could have great merchandise that wouldn't move too. So I appreciate you all for saying that too. So Pat Leslie and any guy in the shop too that sells the merchandise, you go into Scottsdale, they move in that product. Miss Kelly's sitting there and said, why'd you buy this? Look what we got here. Look at that. It's awesome. Everybody knows who I'm talking about. So thank you all. Thank you for letting me go out.
Thank you.
I'll go smile and look pretty.
Okay, you're gonna look pretty. And congratulations to the Grab-It group.
Thank you all.
Okay. So at this time, we'll move back to approval of the November 9th meeting minutes. We did not have a December, so it's back to the November. Can I ask for a, so move, second? Okay. Any corrections or additions? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those accepting approval? I have Mike Houston's proxy too. Sheila did not give a proxy, did she? Okay. So I haven't heard from Sheila at all, but Mike, if he didn't get called in, I had his proxy. So, okay. Facilities report. Dave, you want to start us out? Did you have one for this month? Some did and some didn't.
I didn't, because I have Scottsdale.
I have Scottsdale, and really the play was so limited on Scottsdale. It's only been open for like the last 3 or 4 days, 5 days maybe. So I don't really have an update on Scottsdale.
Jerry?
Highlands kind of like that, about nearly 10 days now. I think it's 9, it'll be 10 by Friday, or 8 or 9 days. But they've been working on it. As I go by, I see the use of our new little excavators that we bought. I think that's probably one of the best buys that we've had. I see them working on that. We're working out in the bar ditch where the runs out. They put rock down in there, dug out all out, and so they're working and it's looking good. So I think we'll be in good shape when we get back open. I think Saturday, right? I believe you open Saturday. Yeah. Saturday. Okay.
I have a question about Scottsdale. I thought it was gonna be closed January and February.
Okay, we did agree to that, but we also had mentioned that if we had some string of 14 or 15 days predicted that we would open. Now, we did do that, but this is a good reminder why I suggested we stay closed generally, because that 14 days all at once went down to 5 and we're back to where we were. So we're learning our way through the process, but we agreed. Kyle was willing to do that, and Darrell told me today that we had a lot of revenue over there those days we've been open.
So, is it going to close tomorrow because they're supposed to get down to 24?
It's going to close tomorrow, and then it probably won't open even if we get any decent weather for the next month. For the next batch of decent weather, we've got to replace bridge planks and do work that requires, of course, to be closed anyway.
And while we're on Scottsdale, I just have a couple of questions. We still have those 2 big rock piles over by number 5. Can you give us an update on that?
Yes, I just talked to Kirk Coleman today that works for MAC, We've been hauling it to the MAC and putting it off that back, which is a long run.
Yeah,
He told me today, because we're talking about, are you familiar with where they're putting in those fish ponds behind the dam there?
yes.
He told me there may be additional ones in the near future. They need to build that up, so all of that's gonna be hauled over there to help elevate that property. That's a heck of a lot closer. And we're gonna go in the creeks and get some more out while we have this window, because we kind of quit because it takes a long time to haul all that rock. So we've got a good plan to finish that off.
One more thing on Scottsdale, and I'll leave you alone, I promise. All the trees that line Scottsdale on the 17th hole, a lot of those have stuff growing on them, and we've already lost a couple of those. It looks like some others are, possibly gonna go. And I don't know who's responsible. I don't know if the city is responsible to remove the dead branches, limbs.
Between the road there?
Yeah,
and
between the
and
road.
that ditch?
Yeah. I don't
It's really
know.
the city's easement,
Okay,
but I will mention to Kyle, because while we're closed, we don't have a lot to do. He may get in there and take a look at it.
yeah, just take a
I'll
look
mention
and
it.
make sure the trees are okay and healthy, and if not, maybe start planting a few more, because obviously we need that row of trees there. Not that anybody ever hits an errant shot, but we don't want anybody to,
That's on the
hit somebody on
left side, right?
Scottsdale. Yes, sir.
That's not a
Yes, sir.
problem. The
Yeah.
other side is- I'll have them look at it and see what we can do.
Dave?
Okay, Kingswood and Brooksdale, went over there and, you'd have thought it was the middle of the summer here with so many people around there playing golf today. It was just packed. The inside looks great as always, neat, well stocked. The guys are all friendly, as we all know there, so it's a great experience there. The carts are lined up, easy access, so, everything's looking good there, good experience.
Gary, you're next. Mike. Go ahead, I'll turn off.
The country club, everything seems to be going fine. They had a decent month, in December for play, and in January, they've had a decent month so far. I talked with, Gavin about a program that we talked about a couple months ago about developing a Friends of Highland, or Friends of the Country Club. And he and Daryl have gotten together and talked about it. We're gonna try to get some impetus going and get some volunteers to, hopefully volunteer to take over that. So Gavin is kind of on top of that. We're gonna help him with some names and telephone numbers, so people in the area, so we can get a Friends of the Country Club moving forward.
That would be great. That would be great to get that going. Okay, anything else? If not, let's move down. Special reports or staff reports. Keith, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna take a little bit of your time, because I think it's worthwhile, because we tend to forget things that happen. And this particular event, okay, where do I need to go to enlarge it here? Where did you show me?
No, just, that's fine.
Okay. So this was a drone of the May flood. And so that's interesting right there, because that temporary road, we've never had that much water on both sides because the culvert stuff kind of blocked it off. So this kind of came into the conversation. We talked about moving the pump house and stuff in the future. We probably ought to wait and see what happens over there. So, and this impacted us on some of the issues we had on greens too, because this was May, and we had put down an application, and you got 21 days to put down the other. That 21 days fell, we had 3 greens under water, so we weren't able to treat in a timely manner, and that contributed to our issue, I'm quite confident. But you get a whole different perspective. There's our pump house right there. You get a whole different perspective when you look at it from the air. It's worth the 5 or 6 minutes here as it goes through it, I think. You pick out some spots you think about when you're playing golf and look at what water's there, you wonder, really? And we get one of these a year on average, by the way. So I don't call this exceptional anymore, extraordinary. I call it just, it's happening, it's just when. Not if. There you can kind of see a green, it's kind of Kingswood there is kind of just out there, that's the furthest one down toward 340, right? And then the creek on the right, you see the holes up there on your right, we would play those, we could figure out how to get there. That would be the challenge.
Keith, can I ask you a question? How is that dam coming out of there gonna affect this?
How's the what?
How's that dam gonna come out of there affect
Yeah,
this?
I'm gonna let.
Okay.
So we did, the POA and the city combined together in 17 and did a flood study of Little Sugar and all of our valley courses. And really the long and the short of it is the removal of the dam will do nothing. There are 85.5 square miles of tributary that feed into Little Sugar. The dam, Lake Bella Vista, is 6 acres in size, 15 feet in depth. Otherwise, the hydrologist called it a puddle. So it does nothing for flood mitigation at all. It doesn't help us in any way. Really what we've learned from that flood study is a lot of the stuff that Keith does proactively on a consistent basis. Examples when he raises the irrigation controllers up above flood waters, because those are 5,000, 10,000 a piece, those flood controllers, or those irrigation controllers, and those type of things. And the work that we're doing on the pump house, the Country Club pump house, that's all preventative to get ahead of it. So long and short of it is the dam won't make any difference for us, but that flood study, he's used a heck of a lot of that information. And the flooding, if you recall, a couple years ago, you know, when we get flooded, we'd be down at these golf courses for 2 weeks, and now he's getting us back open in 2 days. So he's really done an outstanding job of using that information.
And one little picture just a minute ago where it showed all that water over the road, over 340, and then the road coming down the other way. Remember, what is that road? Chelsea. They've never had, well, you never had water over that before, but we think that's only because there's just 3 little culverts over there that are catching all that water. So we don't anticipate that to be an issue once this is removed. And while we're looking at this, they finally are out there laying their rebar in the bridge today, which means they can pour concrete, which means I'm predicting we're gonna get that back about April.
They said December.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, yeah, they didn't give a year. That's a good point.
That's right. Well, is there any way we can build a wall on either side of that creek and have Mexico pay for it?
That is number 5 green where we talked about moving the pump house. So
And there's the bridge that you
there's the
can
bridge.
Oh, wow.
work around the abutments.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's,
When you, honestly, when you see this, and I wish all our membership could see this, because I would give all of you guys in golf maintenance a standing ovation for getting us open as quickly as you do, and I mean, this is amazing. When you see it like this, like I said, it's incredible that you guys, we even play.
So this picture alone, I mean, that picture, that is one small section of Little Sugar.
Yeah.
That's Lake Bella Vista right there. So when people talk about the flood characteristics of Lake Bella Vista, that is one small section of 5 miles worth of river that our golf courses are on. So that alone shows you there's not much we can do other than what Keith is doing.
and the other thing interesting there, that's number 3. Some of those greens were raised somewhere in the past to get them out of the floodplain, which keeps crap off the green, which is a plus. So when we get to doing the project here someday, hopefully, 17 green will move away. 2 green will go somewhere different, so the flow will be better through there, and we won't have all these restrictions, and that should help mitigate the damage a little bit as well, we hope.
This video is a YouTube video.
Yeah, it's on,
So,
it's on the it was on the website.
okay, I think in the golf update that we put out, we can put out, I think maybe a narrative of the things that you've done, like the 2022 narrative you got here. Publicize that and then put this video link on the golf update and tell people they can go look at the flood damage and then what we did to repair it, how quickly we did it, just so they get an appreciation of the work we're doing.
There's two.
Hey, Keith, has there ever done any calculations or study how much in the last 10 years development has changed, like rainfall coming through Bella Vista?
So on the flood study, what's really interesting on there is they show a satellite imagery of the of Bella Vista and all the areas where the water flows from, where the watershed, that's the word I was looking for. They show it for 2017 and for 97. And you see the huge amount of urbanization in that 20-year period. And so, you know, a rooftop, a parking lot, a road is not gonna absorb any water. And it used to be fields and now it's a parking lot or whatever. And that's what the issue is. And they've taken some measures, some of the cities upstream have taken some measures to have flood mitigation, but I think it's really too little, too late.
So
Back to us, that's.
And always remember, why did Cooper put the golf courses in the valley? Because it's a flood zone. They did that on purpose. They would have built a home there if they could have.
see, this, I stopped it here because this is two. We talked about moving to green, because now it's forcing that water to go around. It doesn't look like it's moving very much when you look at it here, but you see all these little things, it's hitting this and then it's churning, and that's what eats out the embankments around the bridges. So if you eliminated this green, let that water go where it wants to go, it's gonna do less damage to you right there. It's the same thing on 17. It's going around in the front, right over top of the green, it eats the green out. You relocate the green, theoretically, the water can go behind it where it wants to go, and it's not gonna do as much damage. You're still gonna get damage, but not to, this is a pretty key area right here, the bridge, as we are gonna talk about what it costs to repair a bridge. It's, makes a difference, so. That's kind of why I wanted to show it, because when I start this again, you think, oh, that's not moving very fast.
Yeah, I promise you. Whitewater.
You do not want to be in there, because underneath it's doing this. And every time it hits something, it erodes it.
And then also, if that picks up tree branches and things like that, and they get caught under those bridges, then it creates more torque on those bridges,
Well,
right?
the first,
Look at the
yes,
trees also.
the
See
first,
how all that, you know, how you get those voids behind the trees, you can see where it's churning up.
the first time 17 green got blown up, it was a log that hit, that turf is so tight, it holds it. But when something hits it, breaks a hole, then that's it. And there's, yeah, there, you don't see hardly any of the trees floating in there, but there's all kinds of stuff in there that's causing issues. So it's almost over, but I think it's worth seeing. And you know, people that criticize us for taking a while to get things fixed, because we just completed fixing the flood damage from this flood in December. Okay, so we closed that stuff down in May when it happened. Dogwood Road is still closed over there. They haven't done anything with that road. So don't be telling me we're not getting our stuff done, okay? I've talked to that guy. He doesn't know what he's gonna do. I said, well, I don't either. It's not my job, but you need to do something. So, I mean, that's a tremendous amount of water. Just, we'll let it finish up. This is coming back to, we're holding more water on this side than we normally do, or the other side actually, holding more water back over on the far side of 340, because there's 3 little bitty culverts, which, by the way, fill up with debris, and then they're not there to clean it out. So it just, because our T's underwater on 6, we've never had that T underwater since I've been here. We've had bigger rain events than this. But we don't think that'll be an issue once they get that bridge and get our new tunnel, because then it's open, right? So it's a restriction. 340. So, that's just a little bit of showing how our year started, that it impacted everything we did for the whole year and impacted you guys and gals as you're playing golf. So now I handed out a year in review. Now I'm gonna point out a few things here because you can read it. But it's pretty interesting. The first things I talk about is rain. That varies between 43 inches at one and 62 inches at another. Every time I get a comment from somebody, why are we on the cart paths here and not down there? That would be why. We have a lot of land between us and each golf course, so they're not the same, right? The months of June and September, we had less than an inch in both of those months, but then our year totals are still, average year total for this area is 44 inches. We exceeded it in most places. The wettest month was May, the flood, where we had 12 inches. We actually had 6 inches the day that flood started on site. And then above us, they had more than that, and that's what really hurt us. Temperature-wise, hottest temperature recorded on the 26th was 105. July was our hottest month at 93 average, and that's pretty darn hot, 93 average, I'm just going to tell you. And we had 18 days of 100 degrees during the summer. The coldest we recorded was 6 below on December 22nd. The next day was 4 below, and we stayed below freezing for 100 hours. That's challenging for turf. And of that 100 hours, 40 of it was teens or less. So it was cold. And, you know, then we had 18 inches of snow, most of it in November, December, a little bit different last year. And then we had the 2 flood events we talked about. So the first one, April 6th, was minor. We only had closings on the valley course for 3 days. That was just for some minor debris to make it safe. May 5th was the big one. Bella Vista's closed 9 days, Kingswood and Burksdale for 12 days. We had 12, 13 greens underwater that you can see there. Scottsdale was closed a little bit too because of their front nine. And that was water that's dumped right on us. We had a lot of fairways. You're going to see some pictures of this because I just don't think people can appreciate what water does. Our bridge and our main line at Kingswood was damaged. We had some cart path damage. We had bunkers at Bella Vista Country Club that went underwater 3 holes. But I want to say all the sand washed out and we had to clean them, but the liners have worked beautifully. We haven't had to do anything with them except clean them off. We did something when we put those in, unusual, that now a lot of people are doing, because what happens is that water comes back up the creek underneath and blows that liner up. So we put little blowout valves outside, so when water comes, the pressure can be released before it gets underneath the bunker and forces that to crack. We have only had one place we've had to repair, and that was hit by a tree. So what we've done there so far has worked well. We've been in the ground now 5 years, had at least 5 floods. So I'm happy with how that's worked. The cost of the POA, not counting staff, is $50,000 to do these repairs. In the past, my first year here, I spent $110,000 just replacing those controllers we was talking about. So we minimize it. There, people ask us, are we mitigating it? We are, just not, can't make it go away, but we can mitigate it. So that's kind of the weather review. And I don't call this stuff, when I first got here, I called these things unusual. No, I think they're just, we're going to get this. So we have to be prepared for it. Capital projects that we completed. We've completed the 2021 tee box projects in 22. We enlarged the tee on number 6 and redid the entire tee on number 2 at Bella Vista. Number 2, we added the back, and the reason that was important because we have a lot of outings there that have insurance for hole-in-one, and we had nowhere to put that. So it helps with our outing business there. And then we also enlarged the red tee on the front, which was the idea behind the tee work. And then we did 1, 3, 4, and 8 enlarged and leveled at Highlands. And then we built another tee on the right-hand side of 8, which I think is going to be a lot more playable for that hole. The intent is, because there's no path over there, when the weather is good, we'll play that tee. We went ahead and leveled the smaller one that's by the path. When we have to be on pass, we can play that one. We're also going to look at traffic patterns while we're playing that new tee to see where carts actually go before we decide if we're going to put a cart path in there. So that's the best way to build a golf course. Nobody ever does it, but let the carts go where they want to go for a year, then you put the path. Don't put the path and tell the golfers where to go. It works better the other way. So we're going to get to try that theory out there. So that's what we're doing. We did asphalt repairs at Highlands, Kingswood, and Dogwood. We did some engineering to harden number 5 pump station that you just saw, had all the water around there. If you drive by there today going home, take a look at what that looks like with no water in there. It's time to get that done. So, you know, that's really a result of numerous floods, and now's the time. We're gonna do the construction work in 2023. We have a bid opening on February 1st, which is a nerve-wracking thing. One, we hope we get somebody that bids it, and then 2, we hope the number comes into what our estimate is, otherwise we'll have to regroup. And then we did the collar work. People kind of forgot that we did that work, and I think that's a major improvement at Country Club. So we did that, and we put new Bermuda grass sod, got them level. We bought some piece of equipment, a roller for Scottsdale, blower, a pickup truck, and then that Mini X that you mentioned that will be used in all applications of all of our golf courses. Then some project highlights for facilities. If you haven't seen, the red barn now is red again. Haven't heard any negative, I've heard positive. I picked out the red, I'll take full responsibility for that. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was gonna look like, but they didn't, I thought they had a red barn, red paint, but no, they don't. So, but it looks good, I think. And that's, you know, that's a very old building, so we're protecting it. We addressed some safety issues at Bella Vista Country Club, number 1, on some trees that were risk to homeowners and golfers that parked under them. And then in Dogwood, we had another issue where a culvert by 18 there on Dogwood, where you could kind of just step off into that if you weren't paying attention, so we addressed that. We've done some shielding on the driving range, in the back of the driving range tee. We didn't really think about that when we did the project, that we moved back enough that it could be an issue for the red tee on number 10. And then, of course, all of y'all take so many lessons from Daryl. You hit it so far now, you're killing us in our shop, so we had to do something down there after the fact. We've got a new tee marker design at Bella Vista Country Club. It was done in-house. It was done by Reed. He designed it, poured them, painted them. A couple great things by that. We got about $4 a piece in them. You buy them, they're about $25 a piece, and these don't float away in the flood because they're heavy. So that's a good enhancement. And then we did some erosion control in a couple areas. And then we had some member interaction too that I want to point out, because we talk about that here, you know, the Champions Club, all the other things golfers do for us. We had a Dogwood Divot Day. If we could do that at every golf course, it would be huge. They did a really great job filling divots. And then we've enhanced our wildlife through our Audubon program. So I'm going to tell you what we look forward to in 23, then I'm going to show you some pictures that will show some of the stuff I talked about.
Just before you go there, didn't we build a new tee at range tees at Highland?
Yeah, I didn't take much credit for that because the concrete work and all that was organized by Daryl. We did the dirt work and helped them, but yeah, that's a huge enhancement.
I think that's a big enhancement. That should be
I probably need to add that to this.
Yeah, I think you should. We also had Divot Days at Highlands if you wanted to.
Yeah, so I'll add that so we have a final report that's correct. Thank you for that.
For the weather situation, is that budgeted extra money for flooding, or do we just take it as emergency when we need it?
We charge it to extraordinary and we do what we have to do. We do not budget. There's been years we budgeted for it, and some years we're not. I argue that a little bit. He's sitting here so he can kick me if he wants, but you know, you don't budget for things you don't budget for things you don't know. I know it's gonna flood. I'm sorry. It's just a matter of when.
Johnny Rainfall here.
So that's my sales pitch, just real short right there. So in 2023, we're going to do that hardening of our pump house. That's $300,000 to do that. It's a big deal, but we feel like that's going to solve our problem for some time, because here's the thing: if we wait to do that pump house and talk about moving it, whatever we're going to do in some renovation down the road, we lose it between now and then. That is the only source of water on that golf course. That's too big a risk. We can't risk that. We're going to do a little bit of asphalt repair at Highlands. And then one that y'all won't care about other than, but it's in my area, is the wastewater road into the Bella Vista Maintenance Facility and Garden Flower Club, or whoever goes down there. A lot of our members use that, and it's awful, so we're going to do that. And Scottsdale got another piece of equipment, a top dresser, which they have ordered. We ordered it November. As soon as the budget was passed, we ordered it. We're supposed to get it in July. So we kind of buy equipment this year for next year. Couple things that I didn't put on that list, or what I just mentioned there, and as well, the 340 project, I already mentioned kind of where we're going, to get that done. Once they get the road out of there, we've got to rebuild the T and the car path. So we had that money, we put the money in the budget this year, but we received a check from them in 2022. So the money's already been received, but we did have to budget it in 2023. And then the other one is the Burksdale Bridge removal. I just got a text a while ago that he is supposed to have the permit today. So if he gets it today, we'll go to bid to get that thing out of there. The good news is the trails and stuff they built over there do not interfere with us being able to get in and out of there. So it'll be nice to have that out of there. So my prediction is we'll start that sometime in February, and it shouldn't take more than a couple of weeks to get it out of there. It's crazy that it's taken 8 months to get a permit to do something that takes 2 weeks that actually makes it better, but that's just my editorial, doesn't mean anything to the government, so.
Have they updated any time they're gonna be finished with that bridge? Are they,
If they get they're getting the rebar in there, if they get the concrete poured, I think they're within 30 days of having the bridge closed, but they have to let that concrete set for some period of time before they can do it. That's usually another 30 days to be sure it meets their spec. And if they don't screw anything up, have to do it over. And then, it's gonna take them a while to get all that other road stuff out of there from the other side. So I don't see it before April, I really don't. I can't imagine, which is really okay, because we plant grass in April, May anyway. So we're gonna be a little tight doing it, but MAC has assured me they would drop any other project they have, except for a rear.
Hey Keith, we talked about in the past about, doing a course, redoing the fairways, of course. Is there any plan this year to address that issue? Putting new fairways in at the country club?
We
Islands?
discussed it, but as always, it comes down to, we're not the only thing. There's all kinds of things. There's Reardon, there's all the other things you're doing. And I spent a pretty big chunk, $300,000 right there on the pump house. That would have done a golf course, just putting grass out. But the other part of that is, I think we've stepped back. There's other things involved to make that grass totally successful. Do we have the irrigation system in place? So we got it level, we got the drainage in. So before we do a project like that, I don't want to spend $200,000 regrassing. We still have potential issues. So we have to look at it a little more.
I just don't want to lose focus of doing something that, the golfers are really appreciative of that kind of work to be done. Improving the golf course playability, putting new grass on the fairways is important, I think, for the golfers. We gotta keep that, I don't wanna lose focus that within the committee that we have that objective in mind too.
But without the pump house, you don't have to.
Well, I'm not saying that,
Oh, instead of.
I'm not saying instead of, I'm just saying, I don't wanna lose the focus of every year we move it back, just like we did with gold tees. We move it back year after year, we say, we're gonna do it, the next year we don't do it. I just wanna make sure we keep focus on it.
Well, and things that happen, like the May flood, cost us time to do 300,000. That might have. So let's all hope for whatever a normal year is. Let's hope for one without a flood. I haven't had one in my 9 years here, so we'll see. Be great to have one, but I'm not counting on it. All right, I'm gonna look at these pictures real quick. I apologize I'm taking this much time, but I believe it's worthwhile. This, whoops, I need to go back. Yeah, I need to get to the top, start at the top. We'll go back to, this is what I saw at Bella Vista when I came to work on that May day. I didn't put all 3 pictures in there. I got here, the green was visible. Within an hour, it was completely underwater. The point of that is, if you're out there, don't get in it. It moves fast, it rises fast. And within a period of an hour, it was 20 feet more.
You can just hit the picture and go forward.
No,
Next,
this one won't.
Going
See the
forward,
arrow on the
just
side?
use the arrow and you can
Take it
scroll
okay,
through
so-
to the next one.
This is the 2 bridges at Kingswood that we saw. So, you see, when you come and work and see that, your hands are gonna be busy. This is typical damage on a cart path. This is a country club number 12 by the green. Water always comes out of that lake across there. The asphalt washed away 2 or 3 years ago, so we put concrete stayed, but the problem is now you've got these cavities. We've done some experiments and they've worked. And this is how we repaired this one. We went in and put a wall down like this to let that water hit, get over the top and on a wall on the backside instead of undermining underneath. Costs a little more on the front end, but long term, when you replace it 4 or 5 times, it pays for itself. So that's something we learned. That's what it looks like when it's done. People don't see that. They don't think that took 2 weeks to do that and about $7,000. That's on Dogwood. Even though they don't flood, we get some erosion from those big rains. That's left to 14. So it was getting out into the fairway. So we came in and did what we did there to improve that. Planted some grass in there, cleared a few of the trees, get some sunlight, maybe grow some grass. Maybe it'll hold up for our next rain event. This is an example of the bunkers that were all the sand. We had to pull all that sand out of there to check the liners because it's all contaminated. Plus, we want to check the liner, be sure it's good. It's not draining right there. That's really, there's 2 reasons for that. One, there's silt in there. The other one is these, like this is number 11. The river is higher than the drain, so it's pushing the water, as I mentioned earlier, back into the bunker. So you don't really know till the river goes down. But the other part that's interesting, see those guys at the back of those squeegees? The 13 greens that we had that had silt on it, that's the only way to get it off. It takes that many guys 4 hours of green to do that. It's very job and time
Can
intensive.
sand in the bunkers be used again, or does it?
We don't have a good way. We used it in some other areas,
Okay.
but not in the bunker because it would contaminate it with whole
Contaminate.
water.
Okay.
That's the amount of gravel we get on the golf course there at
Keith,
Five.
would it help, and please tell me I'm all wet here. Would it help on some of those bunkers that you know are gonna fill up during rain events? Would it help to make those grass bunkers? Would that improve things where you don't have to keep doing that?
because
If you can identify those, and does
Yeah,
that help?
you could do grass bunkers there, and then you wouldn't have to replace the sand and have a contractor come out. You would save some money. But the problem with it might be there's 3 holes like that. So all at once you got 3 holes in your design that have nothing but grass bunker. I don't know how that fits in with what you expect on a golf course.
Well, to
In
me,
the renovation,
yeah.
it can be looked at.
Okay. I just think it's something that we should look at, long-term. If we're gonna have to replace sand and do all this every year, maybe long-term you look at the effect of that and say, guys, I'm sorry, but on this green, we're gonna have to use grass bunkers because it costs us too much year to year to year.
That's a good point to be sure we bring back up when we talk about making the changes to the golf course long-term.
Yeah.
There's some gravel at 7 Kingswood. That's about 4 feet deep. I mean, it's it's crazy how it does it. Then that's actually the gravel's easier to get rid of than this, the silt and the slime that's there. If we let you out on the golf course too early, even though we've kind of cleaned that off, you're going to fall down. It's slick. So sometimes we keep things closed longer when it looks like it should be open. Like if we're dry, we could open, but if we have a little rain and then you go back out there for a couple days, it's dangerous. That takes a lot of, we take the Sand Pro with a blade on it, we just keep pushing to the side and watering it, pushing it to the side. That's all you can do. This is the bridge on 11, where we were continuously getting it washed out, that car path. We replaced the car path last year. We came back and did some more riprap this year, and they're putting slurry on it now. So that will help hold it. But this would be less of an issue if that someday when that green moves, because then the water is coming up over that green and around and spinning. Someday if it's just flowing across there, it'll be better. That's Scottsdale, where we did all that work. We came back and did some slurry and put the rock back up before it got lost to protect our interest there by the bridge. Then, these superintendents, even though they've had a year with all this other stuff, they still find time to do some things to enhance the golf course, like at Dogwood, where they came in and put these beds in with the help of the Friends of Dogwood, helped pay for the materials, and we installed it. And that's better than having a weed eat around the post and all of that, so it gives it a better look. There's one of the hazards that we had, the culvert. We had somebody fall in there, and so it was brought to our attention. So we have a lot of good quality employees that know how to fabricate and build stuff, so now we have a grade on it.
I hope they got a video of that. I mean, that'd be fun, but.
Well, Problem with that, when you put a grate on it like that, it comes out on the other side, and according to code, you have to be sure you got the other side covered too, because what if somebody crawls in there and gets stuck in there? That's a city code. So anytime you start doing this stuff, you gotta check out what the rules are before you just jump off and do it. And the one on the other side was way down in that hill. Well, you know, you play 18 down that left side. The guy we sent down in there wasn't real happy. This was part of the cart path repair capital project, but we did a little more because this is 17 that always awful. All the water runs down there, and you know, you see what it looks like. So we came in and cleaned out the ditch down that left side, put some riprap in there to catch the water, put a French drain in there first to help catch the water, and then we came back and put the asphalt. It's going to hold up a lot better over the long haul. This is our divot day at Dogwood. We furnish a cart, a guy out there to help them with it, and they do that. And then the best part of this is the camaraderie at the end, because they have a little deal. One of the houses, they had a little barbecue and drinks and talked about their day. And so it's a fun event. So I think it's a win-win. Here's a drain problem, erosion problem to the right of 10 at Highlands, the cart path, you know, right up there after you get past the red T. It's right on the edge. I mean, it would have fallen in, right? So MAC was able to do this work in-house because we don't have to require permits or anything here. So they came in and leveled it back out, brought in some dirt, packed it, put riprap in, put new pipe under there, and that's what we got now. And then for the golfer safety at the top, we put a fence to keep you from, if you're not paying attention, you won't run off to the right, okay?
Who's hitting it over there?
I'll tell you, they hit it over there. You can look down that,
It's deep, it's steep.
yeah, and there are balls laying down
Yeah, people try to walk down there too. I'm not sure why they do that, but I guess $4. Okay. So this is the driving range tee at Highlands, the back tee, standing on the mats, looking down that hole, and the red tee's, you know, on your right, so you can kind of see where you could hit it over there if you try real hard. So we planted some hollies in there that over time will protect that. And then I mentioned to you, we get bombed down at the shop, so Greg built the fence, and we planted some hollies down there to protect the employees' cars and the people. And it's a nicer look from the tee, actually, too, than seeing the maintenance shop and all the cars parked and all that other. So that's a major enhancement. There's the red barn. Good color. This is the tee mark I was telling you about. It's made out of concrete. He designed a couple of molds, and then during the months when it rained or too cold, they pour some, let them out, and then they paint them and coat them, and they're going to sit flat on the tee. And I mean, you may lose some in a flood when the water goes through there, but not like we do with the stuff that floats off. Plus, we got $4 a piece into these.
Oh.
So it makes sense. This is the tree work that we did as a safety issue. Those two pines looked like they're healthy, but they weren't because they were breaking off, falling off. They'd reached their age. There was concerns it could fall on the roof of the house over there. So we took them down so you can see what it looks like from the right.
Is that 61?
One.
One of the.
He's not going to have an issue on the corner, but the next couple houses.
Screen your porch.
But we didn't have any choice. We had an arborist come out, give us their opinion on it, said that they were at risk to something bad to happen. Not just the house, but if you were parked under there, you know, a limb could fall out. There was risk to everybody involved. So we moved on. Yeah. This is our wildlife enhancement. Now see that the hawk is pretty cool, but I'm showing it to you for the bench. Wendy, who does the Audubon stuff at Burksdale, we had to cut a tree down over there where she made a bench out of it. She does a lot of that kind of stuff. Costs us nothing. And we don't have to grind the stump. And then, of course, the city of Bella Vista has a sign that said we're a monarch butterfly city. The city took credit from the work we did, I'm just going to say.
Play nice.
Wendy has done a lot of planting of milkweed. We get milkweed donated, and we actually had a good butterfly crop, and it's kind of cool. People appreciate that kind of stuff. So you can do a lot of things on your golf course. There's our new Mini X. The operator likes it too because he can work cold, rain. He's got a cab, so he spends about an hour every day when he's done polishing it. So it took him. He's been here 20 years, and this is the first new thing he's got. So he's going to take care of it. We did cart path repair. That's Kingswood at that big intersection by the deal, and then where the bike trails come out and all of that right there. It was kind of a mess. And then we striped it, so everybody can see. Another picture of it. And then this is the intersection further down, that was awful. So we did that little section right there as well. And then this is the work on the T's. This is number 2. Contractors working there doing the grades, getting it ready. That's kind of what it looks like from the front when they're ready to sod. That's looking at it, the back tee, where we added. We went back into that slope, got more level land back there, and we also increased the size of the red tee as well. That's what it looked like on April when we sodded it. Of course, we're playing it now. That's number 6. We tripled the size of that tee. And we moved it forward. I talked to Daryl about it. The women appreciate that because that creek going across there, it's kind of no man's land. So anybody that can't carry a shot 100 yards in the air is better off now because we got room at the front. This is the new tee we built on 8, looking at it from the green. That's what it looks like with sod. You can see the gold marker there. That's why we want to wait and see where traffic goes, because I'm a little concerned if we dump them off out there somewhere, then we're going to have an issue with our gold tee. So we're going to monitor it this year and find out what we need to do. This is the tee on 4. And the reason I show this one, because it's a lot wider and better too, the red tee. But the reason I show we had a little sod left over, so we were able to get those areas in the fairway out there that were terrible in with this new Tahoma, and it'll do well there because we had some patches of Tahoma from 2 years ago that were doing really well. So, kind of shows you what we can do. And I believe that is it. And I'm sorry it took so much of your time, but I think it was worthwhile seeing that a lot of things get done that you may or may not realize as you play every day.
Keith, one thing, on 9 at the Country Club, is that still plans to open that back up or not?
Probably. It's, we're always gonna have issues there till we get some new grass on it. So we'll probably open it for a while and see how it goes once we're up and growing. Yes, sir.
Well, I always get questions about it, so I just find out.
That one, walking is walking, but that one is one of the narrower ones. That one's not
Not
awful.
too bad.
Like
Yeah.
some of them are where you would have to walk 200 yards to get to the fairway would be more challenging.
Any other questions? Kudos to the entire team, because they hear a lot of criticisms. They don't always get the positives, but you've been busy and it's been a good year for you, even though the flooding, et cetera. So, yeah, you've got a good group, so we appreciate. Okay, anything else for Keith? Okay, Daryl covered, Alex. Tom? Nothing for Tom? Mr. Jan?
Just one comment, and that is, as a former executive director of the First Tee program in Palm Springs, when I was in California, I sure loved the donation for junior golf with the Futures Cup. That's just wonderful, and please thank everybody that's involved in that. That's really special.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun for us, you know, starting with just a small idea 3 years ago, and to see it blossom and grow and see the involvement of the 64 guys that play.
It's effort to,
it
yeah,
is,
that's
and,
wonderful.
you know, and I help sponsor it, you know, through my work and everything, but it's really a credit to the 64 guys that play, it really is.
The pride they take in doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have a lot of fun too, so it's great to raise money and have fun at the same time.
Do we have any emails or anything from anybody? No? Okay, good job. Old business, update on the golf course champions. Dave or Gary?
I haven't had a chance to talk to Gary, so I'll let him go first, and then I have some comments.
I've talked with the golf operations about how many people have signed up. I think we're at like 21 or 22 right now, which is not a real big deal. But you know, what we have to look at is that this is the first year we've tried this. We got a late start in really getting it out. And I think we need to build over the next year. But this is going to come again in the fall. We just start earlier to get people signed up and getting used to the program, I think. And I think there's some problems with the program that we need to work on as far as the groups are concerned and how you ride with somebody in the cart and so forth. But I think, you know, overall, it's a good idea. It's going to take time for it to grow.
The feedback that I've gotten from some of the golf groups that I'm involved with, and I think other golf groups as well, is that one of the problems is how do you pair, and that's been the biggest issue, is like if you're running a league with 50 guys or 60 guys, and you have only 10 guys that are signed up for the Champions Club, who do you pair them with? And so it's really been, that's been the biggest challenge. And so as a result, fewer guys have signed up because they default to, well, I'm going to be riding with somebody that's not in the Champions Club, so therefore I won't sign up. I'd like to get it to the point where we really encourage people to see the value in it. And I'm not sure we've gotten there yet. I don't know that we have appealed enough to their sense of this is going to really help with regards to the way the golf course is going to bounce back in the spring. And until we get that point across, I think we're going to struggle. So we may be forced, and I'm with you, Gary. I hope that maybe next year we do a better job, but I'm disappointed there's only 21 or 22 that have signed up. I was hoping for a couple of hundred, quite honestly. So it's not gone over the way I was hoping it would. But I also see that, I see what people are saying about how difficult it is for team leaders to pair certain guys like that. So we may just have to default to, right now, the system that we have where we put carts on path on a course. And we maybe do more of that to where guys are just kind of forced into it, where we don't make all of the carts on path for all of the courses, but we rotate those. And we do that on maybe even a more regular basis. That might be a solution that we come up with, where we kind of force the issue a little bit.
On that rotating thing, we're doing that now, and we started a little earlier and carrying it on a little later this year. It's going to go into May. So it's 2 weeks at each golf course and rotate. So every golf course goes through it at least twice, but we only do one at a time. If you wanted to force the issue, you might say, we're going to do 2 golf courses per 2 weeks.
And that might be, if not enough people sign up for this and see the value in it, we may be forced to do something like that, or at least try that. And I know we're going to get pushback from the membership saying, I don't want to have, carts off, but I haven't heard as much negative from guys the way it is right now, where we rotate, where there's one course that's assigned to be carts on path only. I have not gotten a lot of negative feedback. Most guys just understand it, like, okay, this is the way that is right now.
Jeff?
Going into next, in 2023, getting the group leaders involved early in promoting it within their group. We didn't do that this year. We just kind of put it out there and said, please sign up. But I think if we get the group leaders involved in understanding the benefits of the program and getting their membership to buy into the program, I think we can have a much more successful year before we have to force it in.
Yeah, I think that.
I think there's ways to do it,
Yeah.
marketing wise.
Well, I think we've learned a few things this year.
Jeff, comments?
Yes, Keith, I believe, I remember from a couple years ago, you had some pictures of the effects, the improvements that it made on certain fairways where you went carts on path. Would those be accessible? That would be something I think if you could show your members, these group members, hey, look at what an improvement this is, that might help motivate some people to get involved in it possibly.
Well, it's kind of if I'm understanding you, that's kind of 2 different things, because the new improved Bermuda grasses tolerate traffic more.
Sure, yeah.
But I think the one that tells that story is last year, the way Scottsdale came out when we opened back up, because we were closed for 3 months. And we'll see that again this year. So, yeah, we could
Get some photographs and then, a picture's worth 1,000 words, so to speak.
But I will say this, that the members that I'm playing with, the length of the grass this year in the winter is much better than it was the previous winter. And so it's like more playable. Last year it was so bare and thin and really low. This year it's a little better and more forgiving.
Even though there was only 21 or 22, looking at the list, they're heavy users, they're heavy golfers. And so that's 21 people that play consistently that aren't on the course. So it's a plus in that direction,
Yeah.
even though it's a minute number in the total, it's a start and it's showing that people do care and
Right.
we're leading in that direction. So-
Well, and while I'm disappointed that we didn't have more, I want to make very clear that I'm so eternally grateful for the ones that did sign up.
Mhm.
And I really appreciate that. I think all of us can thank the people that have signed up to say, hey, we appreciate your efforts in trying to make our golf courses better.
So to your point of this year better than last year, we have done some things different that we feel like have helped. But don't forget, the year before, we had individual cart, one
Players.
guy, one cart.
Yeah.
We had twice as many carts. So that in itself tells you that car traffic makes a difference.
Right. And that's the other question that comes up with the Champions Club. Let's say I know I'm paired with a guy who's not in the Champions Club and he doesn't want to be in the Champions Club. You know, and he says, no, I don't want to do that. Am I better off getting my own cart, staying on the path, or going ahead and riding with him? I think, you know, from a cart standpoint, we're better off just using the one cart. Would that be the way you'd look at it? Yeah. So that's what's happening is, you know, in these groups, you get paired with a guy who says, I don't want to be in the Champions Club and I'm going to drive out to my ball. So that's going to be an issue that we're going to have to continue to address until we get group leaders to be more on board with what we're doing. But I see their challenges too. I get it, and I understand what they're saying.
You know what the good thing about this is, as y'all work through it and gets better, when we do get around to putting new turf out, that's gonna make that better than it is even now with the car traffic, like in front of 17 at Highland, for example. So, what you get, I had somebody ask me what I get for it, I said, you're gonna get better conditions. So.
Okay, anything else on that? Keith, I know you and Daryl are working on educational video for divot repair,
Ball mark
ball
repair?
mark repair.
Yes, I haven't talked to him, I've been out for a while.
Right.
I still have the opinion that we may do something early from the one we already have,
Mhm.
just to get people thinking about it through the year. But the real focus needs to be, it would start about June 1, because when the bent grass starts to suffer from the heat, that's when you really, July, August, September is when you really notice it. So we want to focus our big push to be around there. So yeah, we'll be working on that.
And you also have divot repair tools from Highlands that are still available for this year
Daryl has
to
those.
put out again. So we'll get started on that right away in April then.
And I think you put the code on the back possibly, where you can go straight to how to
Yep.
do it correctly.
Yeah, so that's being taken care of as well. So any other old business that we missed? If not, we'll move on to new business. Daryl charged you for next month to come up with 4 or 5, no more than 5, good ideas for the placards to go for reminders to people. Remember, it's not golf itself, it's preparing for the round of golf and playing the round of golf in general, not specifics on how to play the game. So we will expect those, and I'll remind you of those when we put out agendas in the middle, and we'll remind them during the minutes as well, if you would, please. Okay, anything else for new business? Anything else for the good of the cause? If not, our next regular meeting will be Wednesday, February 8th at 4 o'clock here in the boardroom, and we stand adjourned.